In 2012, Shigeru Miyamoto said, "A delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is forever bad." This could be no closer to the truth than with Pokémon X and Y. Why, you may ask? Because already we're starting to see something that explains all the things wrong with it, from the throwaway Pokemon design and character design, to the crappy motive of the evil team, to, let's not forget, the best thing of all, the fact that everything of it seems so bland, from the graphics that look like they were done with the Quake 1 engine, and all the slowdown to top it off, like Quake 4 or a badly optimized game, to, well, let's not forget stuff such as the music, which I've listened to it and it sounds like every generic theme in one theme. But here's something that explains it. The game was rushed. How do I know this, you may ask? Because they've had to cut features out of the game due to laziness, such as a feature that would allow Pokemon what they're saying to be translated. You know how they got those 8-bit sounds currently? Well, imagine all the features I've seen posted on fan message boards for years, such as having actual voices, and no, I don't just mean that overused Pika soundbite. I'm talking about having anime-style voices, or even the Stadium higher quality voices for Generations 1 and 2 Pokemon, and other stuff such as even having your Pokemon communicate with you. You know, stuff that other forms of media, not Pokemon related, or even other Pokemon media such as some of the mangas or the Mystery Dungeon series have had. Well, despite the fact that the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon series can have Pokemon with their own dialogue for each individual one, Pokemon X and Y, apparently, they ran into space issues and translation issues. Apparently, it would be too much effort to actually have dialogue in the game outside the plot, so apparently, they couldn't do that with the game, and because of that, you've already got one feature which they just don't have in the game because of rushing. Remember what he said earlier? Here's the thing. Rushing is never a good idea. And here's the thing. It's just going to harm X and Y in the end. It will make X and Y one of those games that you'll find in the bargain bin. And considering the graphics look bad even in comparison to other 3DS games, or even in comparison to games from the past, it's just, there's no excuse for it. But that's far from the end of the point I'm trying to make. Get this. You know that overworld that looked not much different from Diamond and Pearl? Apparently the code they're using is so unoptimized for the hardware that they couldn't have the overworld in 3D. That's right, the overworld will actually display in 2D mode only. That overworld that has nothing on, say, Shin Megami Tensei 4, RE Revelations, Kingdom Hearts, or other 3DS games that push the hardware more, this had to go into 2D mode. It's like having a 360 game where they pushed the resolution so much they couldn't even go at, say, 600p. They had to go all the way to standard def. It's like that. I mean, sure, you had 360 games and stuff where they had to lower the resolution, but those were toward more the end of the life, and if you ignored the resolution, the games looked better graphically and could do more gameplay-wise. This, on the other hand, it takes up 2 gigs of space, which was confirmed through the eShop download. And of course, did I mention that these graphics, these bland, horrid graphics that have nothing on older games, say from the 90s, those can't even go in 3D on the 3DS because of how poorly coded the game is. I mean, I would have seen the game, I would have understood if the game was in 2D if, say, the graphics on XY looked like Colosseum, but no. The overworld is 2D only. Now, I'm just gonna cut to some footage of an older 90s game just to prove my point while I talk about this. Why does X and Y feel so rushed and so bloated right after another lackluster release in the series, Pokémon Black and White? Pokemon X and Y was mediocre, lackluster, and pretty much a major disappointment overall. I mean, the game was excessively linear. Sure, there were a few Pokemon designs that weren't terrible, but many of the designs were either forgettable or just flat out garbage. And I'm not just talking about the ice cream cone and the trash cans some people like to bring up. I'm talking about the ones such as, say, remember some ones such as the weather trio, forgettable stuff like that. And many of the dragon types were meh as well. Sure, there were a few. Sure, there was like Haxorus, that was alright, but then you had many of them which were just forgettable. I mean, I'm not even kidding. You had legendaries such as, like I said, the weather trio. I mean, sure, Reshiram and Zekrom were okay, but then you had Kyurem, which was what the heck. And of course, let's not I mean, sure, the graphics were alright compared to, say, Diamond and Pearl, but X and Y doesn't even look much improved. I mean, right now I'm showing you a 1997 game, which, if the source code was available, you'd probably be seeing it run on portables, considering that Quake 2, a similar game from the same time period, could run on portables as well. And did I mention Pokemon X and Y takes up around 2 gigs of space, and there's probably some leftover space in that ROM too, if I'm going off other past games in the Pokemon series. While this game only takes up about 614 megabytes, the original Unreal, by the way. And if you don't believe me, this game will run on anything, even a cardboard box. But yeah, the point I'm trying to make is X and Y is bloated, rushed, and of course, I'm losing faith every single update I see of X and Y. The blander it looks. I mean, this game's got more detailed textures and graphics than X and Y. And I'm not even talking about the art style, I'm talking about just in general. This game just... It's sad when a game from 1997 or 98 is just destroying a game from 2013. That is all I really have to say. And I mean, XY... I mean, there's even Unreal Engine games running on the 3DS. Splinter Cell, that's an Unreal Engine game on the 3DS. All in all, X and Y, the more I've seen of it, the more I think it's just going to be trash. I'd save my money on it, and I wouldn't waste my money on it, and if I did get it, I get it used. I'm not even going to give money to Nintendo at this rate, because I'm pretty much expecting it to be a disappointment, especially considering the developers have already pretty much mentioned they could have done better, but because they wanted to get the game out, they didn't. That's what pisses me off the most. And all in all, I just can't really support a company which does stuff like that, especially right before release, talking about how we cut features and having the whole game look bland beforehand. I'm not even sure if I can support this game anymore. Thanks for watching, and subscribe for more. And one more thing. There's an unofficial port of Quake 2 to the PS3, and Quake 2 has similar graphics to this game. That is all, thanks for watching.